Introduction to Office Software, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint using Windows 11. Users, of course, have to have some way to create files to be stored in the directories. One of the simplest, widely available programs for creating files is Notepad. It is a simple text editing program that Microsoft Windows provides. It lets the users create and edit digital documents. The file created by Notepad will, by default, will have a TXT extension. It'll be pure text. That means it's not going to have any hidden formatting characters. Many programs, such as Microsoft Word, will have hidden characters that control the display. Notepad does not put any of them there. Notepad is usually used for short, simple tasks. A shopping list, a very simple computer program, a note. Since it is a simple program, it loads relatively quickly. It does not have a lot of editing options, which would make it difficult, relatively simple for a beginner to learn, and runs faster because it doesn't have extra things to process. When you open a Notepad program, clicking on the Notepad icon, an empty Notepad window opens, and you can start entering text, or you can open an existing file to read or edit. Text entry takes effect at the data cursor. Typically, the data cursor is going to be a blinking vertical line. Here we have the vertical line. If I reset the vertical line here, then entering the new characters appear where I type them. After some text has been entered, you can change the position of the data cursor by using the arrow keys to move it up, down, left, or right. Okay, where is... Here is the data cursor. I can use the arrow key to move it up, to the left, down, to the right. Or you can just place the mouse cursor where you want it to be. And click. When you have it with the cursor where you want it, just start typing. You can also delete text by pressing the delete key, the DEL key, which will delete the character at the right of the data cursor. Or you can press the backspace key, which will delete the characters to the left of the cursor. You can also select text and then press any key. The selected section gets deleted. It gets replaced by the character of the key that just got pressed. Select a section and press a key, and that character replaces the entire selection. You can select a section of text by placing the mouse cursor at the beginning of the section, press the left mouse button and drag the cursor to the end of the section and releasing the mouse button. Then you will see the section with a darkened background. You can also select a section by placing the data cursor at the beginning of the section, then moving the cursor to the end of the section and shift click. Section select by dragging, put the cursor at the beginning of the section, press the button and drag the cursor to where you want it ended. Alternatively, put the cursor, the data cursor at the beginning of a section and move your mouse cursor to the end, press the shift key, left click, and it's all selected. An alternative, if you want to select everything in the document, then in the Edit tab, you have a number of options, but many of them are not available unless something is selected in the document. One that is always available is Select All, which, if you click it, will select everything in the document. Here we have, click on Edit and Select All. If, on the other hand, nothing is selected, very few things are available. If something is selected, quite a number of things are available. Cut, copy, delete, find, and so on. When a section of text has been selected, you can click on the Edit tab and get a menu with several new options. These options or actions are also available using shortcut combinations. You don't have to open the Edit menu, just press the proper combinations of keys. Copy will make a copy of the selected text, store it in the clipboard. The clipboard is a section of memory where data can be stored. To transfer the copy to another location, either in the notepad file or other notepad files or other applications, Word documents, Excel files, and so forth. The shortcut key combination for copy is Control-C. Copies the selected text into the clipboard. Paste copies the content of the clipboard into the document. Okay. If a section of text is selected, the content replaces that text. If there's no text selected, the clipboard contents will be inserted at the data cursor. The shortcut combination is Control-V. Cut copies the selected text into the clipboard and deletes the selected text from the document. Its shortcut combination is Control-X. So, if we have a selection selected, then copy and cut are available. Copy then transfers the data into the clipboard and paste, which I can do with Control V, puts that copy at the bottom of the, at the point with the data cursor. If I select that, then I can cut, Control X, and I have what I have selected is in the clipboard to paste wherever I want it. When you're working with a very large document, it might be the case that you want to find a place where a particular word or phrase occurs. The editing menu provides two tools that let you do this kind of thing. There is Find and there is Replace. Find searches through the document to find an occurrence of a word or phrase. Here, edit, find. Notice the key combination is Control F. Clicking on Find or Control F opens a window where I can enter a word or phrase and the program searches for the occurrence of if I wanted to replace, that is, I want to find a location, an occurrence of the word canis, and replace it with canis with lowercase c. I can search down, it found it, I can replace, or I can find all occurrences of CANIS with lowercase c, replace all of them. Replace searches. Remember, you can choose to search down or up. And finds an occurrence. places the cursor at that location and replaces the old text with the new text. Shortcut key is Control H. When you've finished for the day, you probably want to save the document so that you can refer to it again in the future. Notepad gives two options for saving a document: Save and Save As. If you click on the File tab, a menu will appear showing these options. File, Save, and Save As. The Save option saves the document in its current form with the current name and replaces the version of the document with that name that's currently on disk. This, of course, assumes that there is a previous version on disk. The shortcut for the Save option is Control S. Save As opens a navigation window so you can navigate to a directory where you want to save the file, the document. You can enter a file name and then click on the Save button. When you have a document saved on disk and you want to read it and or modify it, then you can, if you have a document open in Notepad, a window open in Notepad, then you can select Open from your File menu, and it will open a dialog box which you can use to navigate to the directory where the file you're looking for is saved. When you've navigated to the directory, by default, it only shows files with extension txt. You can change that by changing the setting from txt to ***, and then you'll see all of the files in the Active Directory. If you select a file, a txt file or another file, Notepad will open files of any extension. The display might not make a lot of sense. When one of the files is selected, the name then is displayed in the file name box underneath the window. You click on the file you want to open, it displays the file name box, and when you click on open, it displays the content of the file in the Notepad window. Now you can open Notepad documents directly from a system window. This assumes it's a TXT file. You simply double-click on the icon that represents the TXT file. That will open Notepad, a Notepad window, and load the contents of the file into that window. Or you can right-click on the file icon. In that case, you're not restricted to a TXT file. It'll open a menu, and you can select Open With from the menu and locate Notepad in the menu. Click on that, and the Notepad window opens, and the content of the file will display. Once again, if it's not a TXT file, then there's a chance that the display in Notepad won't make a lot of sense, but it will open and display. The file menu also has an entry for printing the document. If you click on this entry, you get a print dialog window. This dialog window lets you select a printer to be used, how many copies you want it to print, number of factors involved in printing a document. You also have the option of using the shortcut key Control-P. That will just print the document to the default printer with the default settings. Now, when you've finished working on a document and you've saved any information you want to have saved to reference later, you've done any printing you want done, then you should close the document window. There are two ways to do this. You can open the menu under the File tab and click on Exit. Or you can click on the X in the upper right-hand corner of the window. That's kind of a generic way of closing any window in any Microsoft Windows system.